The forge has gone quiet, the bellows blow no more. The forge has gone quiet, the smiths have gone home. Only fading embers remain, and my hearth grows cold. One kiss from you to rekindle it all.
All right, everybody. Welcome to our official first session of the Queen of Embers. Yeah, we're finally starting. So we took a little break over the holiday. It's now 2019.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah. Some awesome news I'm sure you all have heard about. The Zweihänder book will be published again this year, a revised edition. Will be published by Andrews McNeil Universal. It's currently open for pre-order now on Simon & Schuster. You can pick it up on Amazon and Barnes & Noble here soon, including, I think it's called Indie by the Bundle, or Indie A Million, and a couple other sites too. We'll have that live soon. But what we're going to be doing with Queen of Embers, we're actually intending to publish this probably toward the end of 2019 or 2020. For those of you who are listening for the first time, we spoke of this a little bit in session 0, but we're intending to basically playtest a campaign that will eventually be pulled into publication. Meaning the players that you see or are listening to around the table now will be playtesting this campaign, and the decisions that they make will shape the story that will eventually go into print, which is kind of an exciting thing. We've never done something from the ground up like this before, outside of actually developing Zweihänder, but you all will be able to...
You never did do that from the ground up.
But you all will be able to dial in, or to listen in and really kind of see how the sausage is made. Basically inside baseball stuff, which is always fun. Just as a reminder, so Queen of Embers was originally written by Sammy Usitalo, I think I'm pronouncing that correct. He is one of our writers with Durendal Studios. We decided to take that adventure, make some pretty major modifications to it. Some of the story, but a lot of the characters, PCs, places. We worked it back into my home campaign world of Mahal, which we spoke about in session 0. But we're going to be basically running this in my own campaign world, which will eventually be published too. But we're kind of using this just kind of like, let's see how this adventure runs. Let's see if it lasts from like basic tier all the way to advanced tier. We're unsure how long it's going to take. There's 8 total chapters, and I'll, of course, as we go along, we'll announce what those chapters' beginnings and endings are. But it's a pretty cool campaign. I'm super excited about it. I know Sammy was too when I first talked to him about it. You may recognize some of his work before. He wrote There's Something About Marie, which is in the back of Main Gauche, which will, of course, be available in September of 2019. Pre-orders go up in summer for that. But he's been a writer for us before. Really like the stuff that he does. There's a lot of opportunity here to turn this into something a little different than maybe what he anticipated. But we feel it'll really resonate with our audience. It'll be a fun adventure to listen to and tune into. So a little more backstory on Queen of Embers. The players on the table have no idea what it's about.
Nope.
Some of the themes we've spoken about. It's about the change in season. Some of the themes are ash and fire, and love is a pretty predominant theme in the story. Some influence, I think one of his major influences actually was the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight trilogy, which when I started going through, started kind of reading it and proofreading it and editing it and adding to it, I was like, oh god, this feels a lot like the Dark Knight trilogy. This is really, really cool. And it felt like a really good fit for my campaign world. And we talked about kind of making characters on the table for us. We wanted to start over and do something new and really kind of show off kind of a refined version of Zweihander with Mangash tied into it in a new campaign world. And that's what kind of led us here to session 1 for Queen of Embers. So with that being said, before we start, let's go ahead and talk about who we are and who our characters are. So we'll start first with Mike.
Alright. I am playing Harper Clevenger.
What's your name?
I'm playing Harper.
No, what's your name?
Oh, Michael. My name is Michael, like Lost Hostler.
That's right. Or is that your Christian name?
Yes,
Your mother called you
that's what my
Michael.
mother called me.
Michael, like a boss.
Like a boss. Yes.
Mike Boss is how you're in my phone.
Mike Boss.
Yep.
It's like Rick Ross.
Alright, so that's me. Now, the character I'm playing is called Harper Claviger. He's related to one of the previous characters I had, which is kind of cool for me. But he is a dragoon as a profession, and he is a Romanian, which you'll learn about throughout this.
Yeah, so one thing that our listeners should probably figure out along the way is that I run a humanocentric world, and Romanians are one of the ethnicities within this campaign world. So let's move on to Walter.
Hi, my name is Walter Fulbright. I'm an IT professional / professional wrestling promoter from Kansas City, Kansas.
He's also one of our editors as Zweihander.
Yay!
And a long-time playtester.
Yeah. I'm all over this book and stuff. And I have other interests and hobbies, too. But we will get to that.
Zero metrics!
Alright, I'm actually playing a legacy character, though that won't be necessarily important for anybody listening to know in order to understand the plot. His name is Alistair Krim, and he was recruited. He was a Danish torturer / military officer who has been converted, so to say. He's a turncoat, and he is known for his effective methods of getting information through rather painful means. He's actually the profession is a convict, and he is along for the ride with them, a person of special brutal skills, so to speak.
Alright, so one thing that you probably picked up on there is that all the characters around the table have been recruited by a group called the Dufresne Agency. The Dufresne Agency is essentially kind of like the Pinkertons of the Wild West. They're kind of these marshals of a sense, but they're leg breakers, they're intelligence gatherers, they're former military, they're thugs, they're sheriffs in some sense. They are empowered by the crown, but not necessarily in a way it's like that they have like jurisdiction across all of the country. They probably think they do, but they operate both in using espionage in some cases, intelligence gathering, information brokering, and violence when it necessitates. In fact, this story is about investigation. In fact, this is going to be a deep theme within the book, within the game, rather, for Queen of Embers. But who went next to Tim?
Tim Coron. I'm playing kind of a legacy family. Nastasha Steeples was a character years and years ago that I played. There's actually several references in the book about her. Also, her family was very powerful at one point in the old Dan's world. Had a capital for the Eridane, and that's the class there, the race that I'm playing. And they were a very powerful family. Since that city is no more, Banneker is kind of trying to find himself. So I am playing a highwayman, and for, of course, an elitist aristocratical person playing that, it's a little different. But this is his joke is this is his third chance to get his life right. That's why I joined the Dufresne Agency.
That's right. So you probably heard already at this point we have basically three different ethnicities of characters at the table. We have a Rovanian, who is Harper Claviger, more of a rural kind of, they're kind of these pioneer types. The Danish are from the north, and they're, I guess, what's the equivalency you can say, they're kind of like the Scottish or Irish. People in the north have patriots, or another on the island. But the Danish and the West are kind of like a clannish people. The Eridane live in the west, in the main country of Aglador, and they are kind of blue-blooded aristocracy, well-landed, and such. But that brings us to the last person at the table tonight, which is Adam.
Hi, I'm Adam Rose, the rules developer. Most of you would know me from Discord if you're on there. I am playing Terwin Forrester, and I'm playing Legacy Family as well. This family was characterized mainly through war and violence and insanity, whereas they usually die pretty violent deaths, and they have a bit of hot blood, you could say they've got. I am a Ravanian, so I'm from the more rural and pastoral side of the kingdom, and I am playing a man-at-arms.
So, one person you're not seeing at the table tonight who will be joining us next, I think, a couple sessions from now, is Nick, and he plays Warren Rhodes. Warren Rhodes is a camp follower, one of our first camp followers at the table, and his character's ethnicity, he's a Gralstetter. So I guess you could say they're kind of like these old Wild West, kind of like isolated group of people who were actually immigrants from a recent war called the Invasion of the Marcher Lords, which you'll learn more about during the story. So it kind of is the backdrop to some degree why we're all here. Nonetheless, we're going to have the main group here together tonight. So I think we can go ahead and just dive in, and I think as long as a good way to start the game, although we've already had a couple sessions here as character creation and some mock combat, we're going to jump right into the middle of the story. And the first thing you need to know is that it's nighttime, and you are in the eastern territory of the Rovane Girdle. Specifically, being Dufresne agents, you have been assigned to Durendal, the so-called capital of the Girdle in the east. Whereas in the west, the capital was once Bellegane, and the east has been Durendal, and Durendal has changed over the years. It's year 223, so it's 3 years after the last cataclysm, meaning when the distant star, the blood moon, a moon that was not close to the world of Mahal, but close enough that people see its face on sometimes, had been turned to cinder in the sky. This event was called the last cataclysm, and was treated as this kind of like this telling of end days, as some people find it to be. So this night is special in that sense. It is the 3rd anniversary of the last cataclysm in Durendal. It is nighttime. Normally, both the mirror, which is the first moon, much like our own moon, it is a new moon, and you can't see it in the sky. This vault of night is opened up and it is full of stars. But it is during this time that the blood moon would be full. It is a night that is normally called penumbra, which means half shadow. But because the blood moon is no longer there, there's just a starlit night. And on penumbra, it is kind of revered with this auspiciousness. People, since the day of the last cataclysm 3 years ago, they don't go out at night. It's a very strange day. Strange occurrences happen. Birds tend to fly the wrong way. The days last a little bit longer than they should in the winter. The winds blow in a different direction. People are kind of peculiar. Like, things just aren't correct during the day, so people don't take any chances. They don't go out at night. But what is important to note here is that in Durendal, the Baroness, as she is known, beloved of all of Durendal, she has said that no, we must light the streets. The streets cannot go unlit. Business must be attended to. This superstitious nonsense must not be. We must not give in to this superstition. Business must continue. Durendal is a city of great commercial interest and wealth and other things. So you have actually been assigned to join your primary contact, your first person, your contact in the Dufresne agency, a man named Amadeus Chandler. And you join him at a place called Besiah Square. It's just toward nightfall. And you are kind of looking in earnest around for Amadeus. The sun, as it's kind of setting, of course, in the west, the sky is kind of pinkish and yellow and falls to a deep purple, and then kind of the sun softly kind of sets beyond the hills, and it is a time when it's turning from autumn to winter. So it's still, the smell of damp leaves is still kind of everywhere, the dampness of autumn, wetness all around. Besiah Square is actually a pretty large trading community within Durendal. Enjoys a lot of trade. But on this night, despite the orders of the Baroness to light every street lamp in the city, which you will be attending to this evening, there aren't very many people here. It's a little square that's near the waterfront of the Bastards River, as it's called, a river that kind of drives through Durendal. It's called the Bastards River for reasons the player on the table will likely know, but that's not necessarily important to the story. But what you probably would know about Messiah Square, that even before all of this business with the Blood Moon, all this business before Penumbra, this place is known as Messiah Square because it is said that this was the place that the Holy Mother Messiah herself from the Second Age, some number of years ago, had converted the Dunnish to her faith through a miracle, an act of miracle. And forever then, those people were called the folk. They cast aside their old Dunnish gods. They cast aside the old gods and they adopted the new gods, the gods of the Church of the Covenant. And she performed some miracle here on the square and has been known as that ever since. So this is literally the birthplace of where the Dunnish were converted to the faith of the Church of the Covenant. So it's not only is it an auspicious evening being Penumbra, the third anniversary of the last cataclysm, but you're also standing upon the ground where it is said, during the Second Age, the Messiah came and converted all the Dunnish in the girdle to the faith of the Church of the Covenant.
Huh. What is that called again? The Penumbra?
The Penumbra. Penumbra. Penumbra literally is a word in old that means half shadow.
Is there a mango somewhere here?
There is, in fact. Right over here. Yeah, so it is an evening that has, regardless, consider this. Consider the minds of a people who witnessed the destruction of a star that was so close to their world that parts of that star fell as a shower. The stars fell to the world. Into the east, it caused great ruin to the Eridane settlements, specifically the capital.
Right.
Parts of those stars fell all across Mahal. There are stories from travelers and merchants and seamen and others who have been all across Mahal and have reported instances of the past 3 years now of the star falling upon their land somewhere. And it has caused all these strange things to happen. And people as yourselves, being worshippers of Church of the Covenant, being superstitious and likely religious, I would imagine, to some degree, you would obviously pay attention to those warnings. Now, granted, there's a lot of things that have happened since then that are inexplicable. And this night just kind of reminds people of what they literally believe when they read the Decalogue Attendance, their holy book. They believe this is the last days. It's been 3 years since this has happened. And it's caused so much strife across the known world that it has kind of caused this resurgence in esoteric kind of studies and knowledge. In fact, the Church of the Covenant has banned its study because it has driven people mad trying to understand why it's happened. The Church believes it's firmly because of mankind's folly. Many people have different beliefs about it. But nonetheless, it is really a banned topic to speak about. Being out on the night in Penumbra like this it feels uncomfortable. In fact, in Messiah Square, which during the day would normally be just crawling with people, there are no merchants peddling their wares. And instead, the square is full of armed brigandine watchmen. And Brigandine was once a mercenary unit, but now the Baroness has made them into watchmen of the city. A military unit now occupies the city in her stead. Among them, you can see lamplighters, as Amadeus Chandler likely is, and other rough-looking apostles from Church of the Covenant. The cold night air is kind of filled with these anxious barks and growls of muzzled dogs, like these dogs that the Brigandine soldiers have. Nervous coughs from those gathered outside and barked orders from the Brigandine sergeants. At this point, though, all that aside, you're here for one purpose. You were to meet Amadeus Chandler here. That is your assignment.
Amadeus Chandler or Amadeus Olmsted?
Amadeus Chandler.
Sorry.
you have been assigned. Basically, he's your primary contact, and you've been assigned to befriend him and to make yourselves known in the city.
All right. Anyone got an idea what this feller looks like?
No. I was thinking we'd go around to all the different lamplighters and just point at him and go, Amadeus, Amadeus, Amadeus.
Amadeus.
I think there's a better plan. Ask the sergeant. That way you only have to ask 3 or 4 instead of 20.
Very well. I'll look around for the sergeant where he pointed.
A rough-looking soldier, clearly brigandine. Not only just you can tell he's brigandine soldiers, not surprisingly, wear brigandine armor. They're dressed head to toe in it, and this one man is like trying to calm this mutt with a leather muzzle over his nose. He's trying to pull it back. This big black and kind of brown-bellied dog with its ears cropped and its tail cut off. It is huge, like brawny mutt, muscled like a man, and he's trying to pull it back as you approach. What ho, citizen?
What So we're looking for a man named Amadeus. We think he's a lamplighter. You know who he is?
Master Chandler, he says as he's trying to hold the leash back on the dog as it's continuing to bark and yap and trying to come toward you. Heel, heel, he's saying, but the dog is not relenting.
Yeah, that's him. As I take one step backwards.
He kind of looks around. It's back there in the crowd. Over there. Past those men with lanterns. You'll know them. Lamplighters.
Thank you kindly.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See?
Yeah.
Always go to the man in charge.
Oh, it's good to listen to you people you keep with you.
You proceed across Basaya Square, and it is very strange to be in this place because normally Basaya Square, there have been tents that never come down but up here. There are kind of pop-up shops and wagons rolled into here from all parts of the city. It's kind of this place where a confluence of roads kind of meet. Almost like you could almost call it a town square in a sense. It is the center of, the very epicenter of all commerce in Durendal. And seeing all the wagons pulled away, and all the tents pulled up, and all the shops boarded up and closed. No candles burning in any of the second floor eaves beneath the windows. It's all very, very strange. You can see smoke, blue smoke coming forth from the chimney now that the sun is set and the night sky is out, and there's literally only the light of stars and an absence of where the blood moon would be. Only kind of a half kind of sparkling red crescent of what looks like distant stones in the air. Almost like they're encircling the world kind of along this kind of like 45-degree angle. It all feels very weird. Maybe it's just the cold, maybe it's the fact that you all feel a little bit unusual about this night, but you make your way across this almost utterly silent square that's usually filled with sound and smells. And
Night and day.
Night and day, yes.
It's usually filled. Okay,
Yes.
so that's why.
It's both a day and night market, yes.
Right.
So it's all very, very kind of unusual. Your feet are kind of falling across kind of wet. Yes, please go ahead.
How long have we been here in Durendal, or did we just show up?
You've only just shown up.
Okay.
You had came here during daytime, and getting through the gates it did not take long.
Yeah.
But you found a lot of businesses that you had expected to be open to be closed. Okay. You don't know hardly anything about Durendal.
Right.
You
It
simply know.
doesn't seem too odd, but it does seem odd.
Yeah.
You know this place should be open, but it's not.
That's right. Basaya Square is known throughout all of the country of Aguador. Even if you're not from the region of Rovane Girdle, you know about Basaya Square.
Right.
Like, it's literally kind of a hub of commerce throughout all the Girdle. Everyone comes here.
And it's named after Saint.
Right.
That's right. That's right. And what? But it was cool of a saint, exactly. So it's not only is an auspicious night, it's an auspicious place, and it's very unusual from a just very kind of mundane kind of civilian sort of thing, like where there's just nobody there. It's very, very strange. And you're passing through these soldiers, and you realize that they are not the only ones here. There are these groups of friars, men and women, peppered throughout the crowd that is here, about 20 or 25 people total, all gathered around with smoking censers, kind of swinging them back and forth. One man is looking toward the sky while the other is kind of pointing toward a constellation that you know is the lyre. Like a ring, a lyre. Leviathan's Eye, the man says as he points toward a burning blue star. A star within the constellation that you know that only illuminates during the winter months. You pass through the friars and make your way to where you see a man, a slight man, a kind of plain-faced man, short, nondescript. You'd easily mistake him in the crowd, save for the fact that he has a ladder, like a lamplighter's ladder, over his shoulder, kind of like Mary Poppins. And over the other end, he was kind of leaning up on this, what looks like a long bronze staff that's twice as tall as him, that telescopes up, and it has a little fuse on the end. It's not lit, but it's about twice as height. It looks like a spear, but it's clearly like to light a lamp.
Huh. Evening.
Hi, he says. He kind of smiles, his teeth beaming brightly in the night. Like the man has perfectly pearly white teeth.
So they're supposed to meet you.
Well, you must be from the Dufresne agency, then I take it. He kind of straightens his cravat. He kind of pats the top of his hat and removes it. He pats it, it pops off and falls into his hand as he kind of curtsies slightly.
Terwin looks like as if he's almost taken aback by that and just sort of narrows his eyes and nods at him without saying a word.
Evening, Mr. Chandler.
Even to you too. I don't think we've bet before. He extends his hand out. Amadeus Chandler, my friend has called me, well, when you call me whatever you like.
Banneker Steeples, the second.
Pleasure to meet you, Master Banneker.
Yes. Oh, just look at the next person to introduce themselves.
You all are sort of strangers to one another as well. I mean, you would come here.
We've only done one.
Mostly unannounced. This is kind of like not only your first meeting together, but your first meeting with this man as well.
But above boards, the Dufresne agency has assigned a leader, and right, that's
yes, the Terwin Forrester. Sure.
Yeah. I thought so.
Which maybe in your mind is kind of like, really, this guy?
This peasant.
Peasant. That's exactly what I was.
I don't think we had the pleasure.
As he looks in, I ain't no pleasure here. I'll just look away.
I am Harper Claviger. It's nice to meet your acquaintance.
Master Claviger, you got a firm grip.
As I'm a frail person, but a strong grip.
Well, I suppose it's a pleasure to meet all of you then on this strange night.
Name's Terwin.
Oh yes, Mr. Forrester. I trust that you are the lieutenant of this cadre?
Lieutenant? I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm lieutenant.
Good. Well, I was told in a letter from your master that y'all's going to be joining me here in the city, and I'm to see to acquainting you with Durendal.
If you kindly.
That sounds like a good plan.
Good.
What does that actually mean?
Acquaint you with Durendal? Well, I'm no Dufresne man or woman myself, but I do declare what your master had intended for you to do is to put up kip here with me.
Would that mean holding ladders and lighting lanterns?
Oh, goodness, no.
Was that protecting you? Which would make a little more sense.
Well, maybe I suppose in a sense. I don't know what you can do about this damnable night unless you got a giant globe of star you can sit up into the sky. Well, I don't know much protecting I'm needing, but I certainly would welcome the company, knowing that we's all strangers and all.
Aye.
Well, you give us the lay of the land, and we'll talk your ear off, I'm sure.
Well, as I'm sure you know, this is Messiah Square. And he goes on and tells you the whole lengthy story about how the Holy Mother Messiah came here. The same thing I told you before, but in great grand detail. And he kind of turns about on his wooden soled boots and almost kind of sing song kind of announces like where you're at. And as for what I have to do tonight, I have the distinct pleasure, as does the rest of the Lamplighters Guild throughout all of Durendal, to ensure that the gas lamps stay lit from dusk until dawn.
And I'm sorry, Master Chandler, wouldn't that be your responsibility every day?
Oh, goodness, no. Where we're going in Slum Row, the gas lamps don't much stay lit out that direction. Normally we don't head down there. It's a place where most civilized folk wouldn't go.
We have company that will be welcome there.
Well, I can certainly declare the people there willing to give their names either. I know they're rude folk, not to imply that you're rude by any means, Mr.
You can call me whatever you want. Whatever comes off your tongue easily, which seems to be most things, boy.
Mr. Silent.
Yes.
But the people in Slum Row, they the poor and the destitute and the miscreants and untouchables, he says kind of below his breath, not to offend perhaps the rough-looking group of apostles who were kind of meandering nearby of Church of the Covenant. People that just are undesirables in this place. They find Kip there living in the shanty sheds all throughout there.
And we need to light their lanterns tonight too, just because of the night.
Because of penumbra. The Baroness has so decreed every penumbra that every lamp forthwith throughout all of Durendal shall be lit from sundown to sun up, from this district to that, from Messiah Square to the very, very tip of the end of Slum Row.
Well, every man has his place.
Well, certainly, but between you and me, he kind of pulls at his collar. I don't necessarily feel that it's some sort of a good thing to be meandering down those streets at night.
So then you'd be out of place.
I think anybody would be out of place there at night. When people go out at night at Slum Row, people looking for trouble. And I mean, I've been to some shit-ass flop houses in Durendal, but I wouldn't step foot in Slum Row. I'm not above rubbing shoulders with, indigents like the Gralsteaders, but I will say, I do declare Slum Row's kind of during the day, people live there because they have to live there. During the night, people go out during the night looking for trouble. Now, we light these lanterns, and maybe that will ward away the criminals and all the bad people. That's what the Baroness believes, so that's what I'm going to do.
Well, if that's our task for the night, I figure we get to it. But,
yeah, we'd be more than happy to go along with you.
But the great thing about Slum Row, as you may not know as outsiders to the city, every Durendalese knows it. There's about 10 streets that wander all throughout all of the Anvil. When he says the Anvil, it's the kind of the locals' name for Durendal. For Durendal, as you know, is like this, it's this hotbed of like saltpeter mines and iron, mostly saltpeter now, because of the need for gunpowder, and because of the sulfur from the moths been brought here. Like Durendal's become like literally where all gunpowder and guns are made for the war in the north. It's a big deal. You may not know this about the Anvil, but they have about 10 streets that wander their way all throughout this damnable city. The one we going down, well, much like the Leviathan's Eye up there, we're going down his street tonight.
That's what it's called, Leviathan Street.
That's right. Winds its way about, I'd say, a good couple miles or so throughout there. Now, normally it'd be a short jaunt. Maybe call it 30 minutes. A man like myself, even during the daytime, call it 15, because I run as fast as my feet will take me. But them lamps ain't being lit in a year. So that means I got to I have to clean the globes, have to ensure that the fuses are working, adjust all the gas that's going to the lamp and make certain nothing dastardly happens.
Well, here's hoping that they took care of some of that themselves. Maybe they kept up with it.
He claps. Them people ain't got 2 pennies to pinch. They can't afford a pot to piss in. They just shit right in the middle of the street. I wouldn't expect any less of Gralstead. Take care of their lamps. Boy.
I don't believe those Grolsters even know what a lamp is.
Well, it's not just Gralsteaders. I mean, there's Rovanians too, and some people on the lam, criminals, people who can't afford nothing. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but you know what to expect when you go down there. You ain't gonna find no walking into a store and buying groceries and getting your jig on at night at some fancy tavern. That place is just destitute and poor. No offense, obviously, I mean, everybody's got their place.
Taryn will just stare at him and take some raw oats that he's got in his pouch and just kind of continue to eye him and just chew on him.
Well,
so we'll just help you. We'll help you.
You just want us to keep us a lookout, or you want us to help?
Well, I don't think none of y'all look like you lamplighters. I just need some eyes out in the street. Maybe just some company. We can chew the fat a little bit, talk a little bit about ourselves. Maybe we can make a wish upon the Leviathan's eye tonight. You know it's a night of lovers, right?
Well, I didn't know it, but now I do.
You got young'uns of your own?
Not myself, no.
What about you? You got a lover?
No.
You make a wish from the Leviathan's eye on Penumbra, that person like to return your love. Y'all won't be surprised if we wander about these streets and we see all sorts of trysts going on in the back alleys. It's a night of carnality.
Oh.
That's why these priests are out here, because they think that their smoking sense is going to remind people, you can't be procreating outside of marriage.
The church has its place.
That's right. Say your prayers and make a wish upon the Leviathan's eye, and maybe that unrequited love that you so seek shall be returned. Do as they do in Durendal.
All right.
The star he points to is this star that's called the Leviathan's eye. You all know it. It is within this constellation called the Lyre. That is a Lyre, like the instrument. And the star is actually at the top of the G string where it joins the buttress at the top. And it is literally revered by teenagers and others that it's a night of love, and when you can go have it's a night when it's also believed by the Eridane at one point or another at a time that if you procreated during that time, the time when the Night Father's eye, the Leviathan's eye was out, that you were guaranteed to have dark-haired, blue-eyed children, blessed by the Church of the Covenant. Now, the eye burns kind of on and off throughout the winter season, but perhaps because it's on Penumbra, there is a specialness to it. Any of you wish to make a wish upon the eye, the Leviathan's eye?
Sure.
Nah.
What will you wish for?
Oh,
Any wish can be said to be fulfilled by swearing to by asking the Leviathan's eye.
Well, I wasn't even. I was just. I don't know.
What is the Banneker Steeple's desires? We'll give you a moment to think about it. Anybody else?
Yeah. Taryn wishes to make it back home to his wife to have a second child.
What about yourself, Alistair?
As long as he doesn't have to publicly,
No.
out loud declare what he wishes for.
No, not by any means.
He wishes for his wife and children to be safe and healthy and knowing that he'll never see them again.
My question would it be a reverent thing to do?
Sure. I mean, there's nothing in the liturgy of the Decalogue of Tenets about it, but it is considered like a folk superstition.
Okay. Yeah, because since the Clavigers are a very reverent family, I guess you wouldn't really go outside those kind of. You would stick to what the Libram says. If it's known to be just a childish wish upon a star kind of thing, like there's no harm in that.
Yeah. And to wish upon, I'll get back to you in just a moment.
Well, if it's some kind of folky thing, I would look down upon it and I wouldn't do it.
Some Banneker nothing. Okay.
If it's
He
some
wants
kind
you to know that he's above it.
I would actually probably express that I wouldn't do something so stupid, superstitious, and childish.
I don't think Krim probably thinks of it as being a real thing, but he can't help but think about it when reminded of
that's
family and fealty. He thinks, he's reminded of it regardless of himself.
He has nothing though. Remember, so
Terwin's all in.
yeah. Just put it on the table.
Okay. So
You're publicly declaring your.
Yeah.
to do so almost seems kind of silly, but superstitions have power. They have great power, and you know that the gods are real, and you know that, particularly in a night like this on Penumbra, to do as such could be something considered almost veering toward what would be against the Decalogue of tenets. So those who made a wish gain 1 corruption.
Oh, okay.
I'll take a corruption. Corruption.
Well, you don't have to declare so loudly, Terwin. He's Master Forrester, he says.
Well, that's what I was supposed to do.
You
Can't tell me
Look
there's
at
something
that.
to do and then say not to do it.
There goes the sun. No more light. All right, then, hold on, he says as he kind of leans down and he lights a lamp and lifts it, and it kind of glimmers and glows, and you can see moths begin to bat at the panes around it.
Can I steal one of it?
It's autumn, and it's not cold enough to see your breath, but it's just kind of on the edge of being about 55 or so. And you're dressed certainly for the season, but as the sun sets, you can feel this kind of bitter, chilly, cold wind that kind of just doesn't feel comfortable. It hasn't rained here in a couple days, but still the air feels damp.
So why is the city so deserted? I mean, is Penumbrum really that feared here by the folk? And
Well, it would appear that their fear would be stronger than their loyalty to the Baroness, unless they'd be out and about.
Everybody loves Baroness Dupre, and she is truly the foremost beauty in the East. I mean, there's no doubt that she is revered and amused to many poets and artists. That being said, where that moon used to sit, all gone like it is, it's understandable. On the 3rd anniversary of the last cataclysm, while people will be so, pick up their things and leave for the day.
well, Durendal wasn't even touched. It would make more sense for my people to be so superstitious.
There's a lot of Eridane in Durendal. Believe you me. Not only that, there's a lot of people from the north that now live here. In fact, they live in Slum Row. Take that for what you will.
Marcher lords?
Oh no. Gralsteaders, he
Gralsteaders,
says.
yeah.
Immigrants.
I care nothing for those side-buys. But if there was Marcher lords, I would have problems with that.
No martial lords in Riddle that I know of. He smiles toward obvious Krim and you. And I think if there was any, they wouldn't be announcing themselves. No less. Admittedly, I wasn't willing to take this. It's not like the Baroness says, hey, you Amadeus Chandler, come to my door, knock, knock, knock. You're going to do this tonight. I was offered a pretty big stipend. And I'm willing to share in that stipend with you for this. And I know you're fresh here to Durendal, and you probably need some coin to get you going. But the poist was pretty heavy. I'll give you each 3 crowns.
Wow.
Done and done. Let's give us a lamp and we'll start moving that way.
Well,
I'll look at him and nod.
So, above board, to be offered such a princely sum for him to be able to parcel out that much coin would mean that this job would not only necessarily be dangerous, but that would help kind of validate how people feel about Penumbra in Durendal and how people feel about Penumbra in general. Like it is here in the East, it's considered a quote bad night. You don't go outside. You don't go out during the day. All work stops. It's not even considered a holiday. It's considered you don't do anything day.
I think
we pray the end of the world doesn't come that day.
I think without even saying it, I think we probably figured that out when a team of like specialists, like agents, was assigned to it.
Right.
That's
it
right.
Probably meant like
That's right.
So it's like what the solstice used to be
weird.
for.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Full. That says full.
What?
Oh, come on, you go with the first thing that's offered to you.
Well, I ain't exactly keen to look a gift horse as I look at Matthew in the mouth, but
he yanks on the reins of his horse that he has standing beside him, this large, well-muscled storm horse.
but I do reckon, it is quite the price.
We need to feed him too.
You're the boss, Master Forcer, so
You want to barter, you can barter.
Yeah, that says full. How about what you say to that?
He kind of looks at you a bit incredulously. Roll a bargain test. Are you? You should not order a castle line. Are you lowborn or are you burger?
I'm a lowborn.
Okay. Your test is going to be routine.
You can do it. We believe in you.
You can do
The
it.
routine's going to be a 48% chance.
You can do it.
And a 16 will succeed.
There's not a lot of coin left in here, but I mean, after all, what am I going to do with 1, 2, 3, 4 additional crowns? All right, fine. 4 crowns each it is. But you get to buy the first round when the sun comes up.
Fair enough.
All right, then. We got a deal.
Whoa. Just the lieutenant buys.
I think I understand.
I agree to that then.
We ain't trying to split witch hairs here.
Yeah, because isn't like the average wage for a day like a couple brass?
Yeah, average wage for like a lamp bearer is about 5 brass pennies.
A mercenary is like in shillings.
Right.
Yes.
So this is literally like a kingly sum.
Yes.
And
To us.
An inordinate amount of money.
Yes.
Like,
Which
that's going to put me a bit on edge.
It's worthy of our skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It put me so on edge. It was like, wait. We're going 3. But
Nice.
Right. All right. Well, I'll hop up on Matthew then.
Well, I'm a superstitious man, don't get me wrong, as he will give you each a crown to start with. But
I'll take it.
if you have prayers to offer, I would talk to that friar right there. He says, I'm going to get my belongings ready here, and I've got my cart here as well. So, you got any praying to do? You do your praying.
My evening prayers.
I haven't committed to that yet, so I'll go and...
Who wants to go speak to the friars?
I do.
What about yourself, Alistair?
I don't think so.
Okay. A stern-faced friar from Church of the Covenant walks forward toward you. He's actually accompanied by a couple of apostles who are carrying these smoking censers and somberly chanting these kind of low hymns. As they approach, you realize that they're reciting a prayer from the Decalogue called Deus Asterius. Asterius, of course, being the first chosen of the steward. Much like how Messiah was revered as a saint, Asterius was of the steward. Deus Asterius.
The first saint of the steward.
That's right. The friar steps forth as you come to pray, and he announces, of the covenant, which god do you hold the highest? Is it the steward, the martyr, or the learner?
I'd probably go steward.
Steward, so.
Let's do it.
After you address the question, the friar presses a purity seal, what looks like a ribbon of cloth that runs about 13 to 12 inches long, and seals it with hot wax upon the ribbon, and he either pins it to your clothing or What are you wearing? Are you wearing armor?
Yeah,
Leather.
leather armor.
Leather. Okay. He'll actually use the hot wax to seal it to your leather on each of your chests, and they will perform a hymn called Deus Asterius. As they perform this hymn, for the next 24 until the sun rises, you gain a +10 base chance to combat-based skill tests.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
For the learner or the martyr, it may have been a very different benefit. This is actually a new ritual in the new book.
So +10 to combat?
But combat-based skills, yes, that's right.
Did they take donations?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll throw 5 brass at him.
Yeah, one of the apostles. This man with like this what looks like a simple cap that almost looks a little bit larger than a yarmulke, kind of resting on his head. He looks like this like ugly bruiser who's wearing like loose sackcloth belted around his waist with a rope and loose pants and a wooden truncheon in one hand, like they're literally wearing clubs at their waist. But he approaches with a prayer bowl, and you put how many brass in? 5. He nods his head and smiles. The steward thanks you for your donation, he says in a very slow and kind of brutish tongue. It appears that all is not his native tongue, you would guess.
Yeah.
I put 9 in.
Unusual number.
I'll put 3 shillings in because that's what you're supposed to donate.
Blink, blink. He gets 3 shilling. His eyes widen. The friar approaches you and smiles, and he says, "The steward will bless you tonight. Take care."
One for each of the faith, the Trinity.
He smiles. "You know your liturgy," he says. He gives you some lilty words and whatnot. You specifically, because you gave 3 shilling. You was in Banneker Steeples. You note that neither Alistair Krim nor Amadeus Chandler approach the priest, nor neither of them wear the purity seals upon them.
Bless you, Father. I hope you're not as pure.
He nods.
I mean, I'd hate to lie to everyone.
Some wear faith, some wear scars. And you look like a man who wears his scars.
I've got a fair bit of both. I'd say that.
You're the folk.
He's done.
Well, the folks.
All right.
Well, that's what they're called, right? I mean, are you of the Trinity, or do you worship wolves and beaver skins, or what? I can't remember what it is you people used to worship.
You people.
He'll just sort of give a smirk and turn around and wander back into the alley.
Oh, I didn't mean to offend him.
Yeah, well, you did.
I'm not very good with.
Words?
Oh, I'm very good with words, actually.
Oh,
A little too good, that's the problem.
perhaps just not the right ones.
My feelings aren't that easily hurt.
He turns
good,
around
then.
and he's pissing on the wall.
Ah,
He announces over his shoulder.
I'm glad your feelings aren't hurt. I was just trying to learn your culture. You know, only thing I know of your people, they tortured and slaughtered my family. So.
Yeah, that's possible.
So.
Why lie?
Well,
yeah.
how's that for a good?
That's breaking bread.
Yes, always good for morale before we go into a dangerous place.
Well, I still got his back.
Well, it's not like we're gonna find a bunch of like cutthroats and murderers in the streets. He slaps his leg and laughs.
We're all still different.
Don't be pulling your sword out yet.
That's why.
Hey, I can
That's why
show
they had to
you.
bring their own cutthroats
I
and
can
murder.
show you.
That's why they brought us. They brought us to scare them away.
I can assure you, even though I'm no knight, I don't pull my sword unless I intend to kill someone. So no, that's what my spear's for.
Is that a euphemism for something, Master Forrester?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well,
let's talk a little bit about the job. He says.
All right.
I'm gonna answer any questions you have.
So you're going to do all the work, and we just look out for you, or do you want us to help in some way?
You can study the ladder, I suppose. I mean, the problem is I just don't know how. I mean, those globes ain't been touched in a good year, so there's no telling if the fuselage, if that gas is pouring through it like it should be, if the fuselage needs to be replaced, if the globes haven't been shattered. There's about 3 fuselage in each of those things, and the gas coming up from below the ground. Just got to ensure the right amount is coming. I got a special key, he says, as he kind of pulls around his chain around his neck, and there's looks like a skate key. You know what a skate key is? For like, got this thing here, and this is what you use to control the flow of the gas. Turn to the right, you got more gas. Sorry, wait, I flipped that around. I flipped that backwards.
Lefty loosey, righty teddy.
You turn it left and you got more gas, but there's a specific amount of pressure you want coming through there. Then I use this special device. He pulls out this strange little round disc. I use this to measure the amount of gas coming through. When I know the smell is just right, at the right smell, what's that smell like when a match is struck? Phosphorus, that's what it is. When the phosphorus smells just right, then I know it's time to light it. The thing about being a lamplighter, or a link boy as they call us, you learn all these things over the years, and I can tell you this. A stupid man who will wander up there with one of these keys and try to do it himself, get himself killed. Likely kill those around him. That gas combustible. Blow your whole damn head off.
So is there a cart with supplies we protect?
He points toward it. We're just going to pull it along the way.
Okay. So the cart can be as far away from the explosive gas as possible, correct? Is there more explosive things in this cart?
There's no gas in the cart, my friend. Oh, you're a Westerner, so maybe you don't understand. Let me break it down in simple terms. You see those ghostly looking posts that run all the way down that street? You can see them. Look like little fingers poking out.
I know how gas works in the city. I'm from Bellegate.
So so pretend that there's water running through those pipes.
I get the analogy. I just wanted to make sure where the cart needed to be positioned.
Imagine for a minute, and before you get the horse, before you put the horse, for the cart before the horse, imagine that water is gas. And that gas lights up from one post. That post, and the next post, and the next post, and the next post, and the next post, all the way down the repository gas below the ground, goes up in green flame. That's what I'm talking about. Don't matter how close the cart is. It's a matter of knowing the right amount of pressure and phosphorus to be inside that globe to contain it. That's why glass globes are important, to contain the gas. It can't just expand or else it won't light. I got some globes over here just in case things get bad, and I know a Chandler down the way too we can get more glass globes from.
Okay. You know your craft. We protect. I've got it.
Just keep your eyes out, Tell me about yourselves. You're going to be in the city for a while, I take it. Any other questions I can help with? Whatever you need to know about Durendal, I'm here.
So the brigandine soldiers.
Oh, yes.
They're your actual watchmen now.
Oh, yes. You probably don't know much about that. You know about the old governor, the Duke, Vance Daltonthorn.
No.
Well, he was some such and such with the crown on his head and used to govern this city. Then he went off and died, as all old men do, and some time passed, and Durendal passed between two hands, between some Jenny, some Lord Genevieve, and then it passed to his wife, and then him and his wife got themselves a divorce, and now you have the Baroness Madeline Dupre. She rules Durendal. Now, she ain't no warmonger, don't get me wrong. This woman is she's the furthest thing from it. People love her, but there's also people who want what she has. I'm sure you know all about what happened 3 years ago on this night out in the west.
Yes.
Well, out here in the east, that night on Penumbra, there's an attempt on the Baroness's life. She was saved by the timely intervention of her advisor, Rasputin Hexenstern. She was. Said he saw it in the stars. And when the stars came crashing down, well, he rushed to stop the attempt. Said he foresaw it in the stars. Right? Some craziness. Well, I would say that a man who can see things in the stars is a madman or stupid. But on a night such as this, when the stars fell from the sky, well, I ain't second guessing no Master Hexenstern on this bit. Anyway, Rasputin Hexenstern rush in, save the Baroness's life, kills her chief advisor.
And becomes
Victim Alistair, dead.
And then becomes the chief advisor?
Well, that's part of it. I mean, the Baroness so damn terrified that she said, all right, Brigandine, looks like you're going to join me. And she opened up the city's coffers and paid them with the old Dalton Thorns coin. Made them all official-like. So now they don't employ citizens to wander the streets. They got real military men and women attending to Durendal. Which is rather timely, given the fact that we was in the middle of a war no more than 5 years ago. Where else the hell are they going to do? What are you going to do with soldiers? You put them out on the highway, they're going to rob people. The best thing you can do with a soldier who's returned from war is employ him. Or her. And that's exactly what she did after that night. And this has been 3 years since Brigandine been in control of Durendal. Now granted, Brigandine had to soften their touch, given the Baroness ain't a warmonger. But nonetheless, she lived. And that's damn well why part of the reason why we're out here lighting the lamps down Slum Row anyway. The whole thing is crazy. But, once again, who's to argue against stars that fall from the sky? Rasputin Hexenstern saw it all happen, and that's why we got Brigandine out here.
Huh.
In fact, you read between the lines of what she said in her decree on these streets. She says, light them lamps to drive away spirits and drive away criminals and all other sorts. And in fact, you're going to hear, you ain't been in Durendal before, you're going to hear when the witching hour comes, you're going to hear 6 bells tolled throughout the entire city, marking the witching hour. The night that the last cataclysm happened, in the very moment when that attempt on her life happened 3 years ago on this day.
Was that the witching hour?
That's right. 12 o'clock. Get yourselves to sleep. All the scary stories you heard when you were a kid. I don't believe in monsters. We got Brigandine to protect us. Nobody ain't getting into Durendal, especially the damn Mancha Lords in the north.
It's a long way to march to Mancha.
That's damn truth. There's one thing you can say about the Rovain Girdle, is that we have had a dearth of luck between the Duke and now the Baroness and Brigandine here to protect us. Ain't no wars ever touched our fair city. Hell, even in the strife, they didn't go past the Axewater and Caeltyrion. And we've been safe here.
Aren't there massive walls around the city too, though? Like,
Yeah.
it does help that you have I believe, extremely large and thick walls.
Well, certainly, but somebody has to man those walls. And I ain't saying nothing bad about the Duke, God rest his soul, but he was a right asshole. And there's nobody here to protect the walls after he died. It's a good thing we got Brigandine, is what I'm saying.
Huh?
Not only just because of what happened 3 years ago. Heaven forbid.
So who did the Brigandine answer to? Just directly to the Baroness? Or to this Rasputin?
Oh. Rasputin Hexenstern?
Yeah.
Oh, they report up to the Baroness herself.
Ah.
So is Rasputin, he stood around?
Of course he is. He's a holy man.
A holy man, okay. So is he like...
Holy with the church or holy outside?
Make a charm test. You need to convince him to go any further. This test is going to be challenging.
Is he outside my social class?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's low board.
I'm gonna use myself some silver tongue.
Do you have a
then.
skill rank? Do you have a skill rank in charm anybody around the table? No? Joe says to Alistair, come on!
You said challenging?
That's right.
Okay. 67. Ooh, 83. Here's one. I'm gonna try one.
Yeah, I'll take it. A reroll.
It's a primary skill. Did you fail again?
Yep.
Well,
I don't know.
he just doesn't trust you.
He doesn't trust me.
Well, I reckon maybe something the learner told him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that knows secrets, right?
As I understand it, some other people out in the West and they foresaw something in the stars too. I mean, think about it. How many wise women and other folk around here that pray to other gods beyond these walls? I ain't want to denigrate other gods because, let's be honest here, they're real. And we did something real bad to rub them wrong to cause the stars to fall from the sky. But my point is that we're in a good place now. We got Brigandine to watch over us. We light these damn lamps. Baroness feels happy. She can see from her ivory tower in the middle of Durendal like all the lights of the city are lit. It makes her feel comfortable, therefore makes us feel comfortable.
Everybody deserves light. Maybe it's only one night a year, but everybody deserves light.
So we're going
Is
to...
it the it might be in the leave room somewhere. Light the darkest, light at your darkest hour. That's what it says.
I don't read nothing, but I know my readings about the steward. There's something about fire and flame in the night driving away the unholy terrors of the darkness, but sure.
Yeah, that'll work.
So as we're going to get to it.
Anything else I can help answer?
He's the NPC at the beginning of the video game, man.
No, I get that.
I mean, we're all new here, so where are we going to be lodging up?
Yeah, I was picking on you.
Well, when we finish this bit of work, we're gonna come. I live not far from here, from Basaya Square. We'll probably keep up Kib there for a little bit till you get settled in.
All right. Makes sense.
So you're our main contact for this? You'll tell us our next job, or is that? I mean, are you just our main contact? And...
I was just told to put you up. That's
Okay.
all I know. Your business between your master and you is well, that's your business. And if you don't know it, then maybe you should go back to Steed's Hill and ask.
Let's not worry about it for now. Let's just get this job done, and then...
Right. Don't put the cart in front of the horse.
All right. Day to day, as the common man says.
Well, one of you all here grab that cart. I got the ladder. I'm not gonna fuse a lot. Someone can grab the lantern. That'd be helpful too. So who's gonna grab the lantern?
I'll grab a lantern and hold up high.
Okay, on your horse.
Yep.
Who will pull the cart? It's a little hand cart.
Is it? Yeah, I'll pull the cart. Okay. I'm not. Look, as I said, nothing's below me now. I'll pull the cart.
I'll be keeping an eye out.
I'm actually very good at that too. Well, okay.
Well, would you rather keep an eye out, or would you rather pull the cart?
You're the boss man.
I'm not talking to you.
I'll look at him for a moment, then I'll go over and grab the cart.
See, now you can keep your eye out, because it's what she's good at. See?
Now, as you said, boss man.
You pick up the cart and those wooden wheels rattle across the flagstone, and you begin heading into Slum Row. Of course, Harper Claviger's horse kind of clip-clops across the kind of narrow, muddy streets that seem to wind their way between these wooden shanties, these shabby cottages, and God knows whatever illicit businesses kind of are found here. You can kind of imagine this place is probably where you would go to find the, quote, right kind of apothecary for the, quote, right type of healing. This is likely where a lot of poisons or another paraphernalia are trafficked, you would gather. They're dilapidated houses that kind of lean into one another like rows of rotten teeth everywhere. In fact, the whole area kind of smells damp like rotting leaves in the forest, and you can kind of hear you kind of splash through these puddles and there's kind of broken cobblestone along the way. Once you leave Messiah Square, where the muzzled dogs were yapping and growling, and the hymns of the friars kind of filled the mostly empty square, the Slum Road, this street is silent as a crypt, save for just the slight shuddering of the wind. None of the homes here have lights, and very few have any sort of wood-burning stoves inside them to keep them warm. None have chimneys. There's literally nobody in the streets. It's completely absent and silent otherwise in the wind and yourselves. It's kind of unnerving, especially in a city of this size. It seems almost so distant from the rest of the city that even the din of sound you would hear, like at night, is absent. And you realize, like, wait, we're near the waterfront, we're near the Bastard River, we're near Messiah Square. You would anticipate or expect there to be at least some kind of distant echo and haze of light across the horizon from with the other lamps. But it appears the lamplighters are just starting to do their job, and the sound of the city is silent. No irons are struck. No rumbling or sounds from the ground, even the mines below the salt mine, or the saltpeter mines. There's nothing going on in the city. It's almost like this is probably the first time since the beginning of the Second Age that the city has been completely silent as a crypt. The starlight overhead the vault of night opens up and casts a brilliant glare of silvery kind of burning stars here and there, and your eyes keep turning back toward the Lyre, that constellation where the Leviathan's eye burns this brilliant blue-white, like very apparent. Almost, it is not the size of the moon by any means, but it seems almost like in your mind's eye, for those who made a wish upon it, to almost hold a level of importance, even more so than the Northern Star Volcanics. Your eyes keep turning back toward Leviathan's eye. You almost feel kind of drawn to it. And knowing that this is perhaps your first evening you've been out on Penumbra at night, it is a little bit unnerving. Broken flagstone, wet stucco walls, and old damp wood kind of are the things that you would touch. The buildings nearby, the low stone walls, the old picket dilapidated fences, the overgrown grass. Even the cobblestone is broken. In fact, there are planks of wet wood that are laying down like a corduroy road to get across these puddles of water. You come to the first lamp, and it looks like this kind of lonely looking brass apparatus that is actually as tall as a man on a horse. So you find that Amadeus kind of stops, and he's whistling to himself, perhaps nervously. You notice he had very clammy hands when he shook your hand too, and he kind of looks almost kind of weaselly wet himself, like a frog that kind of like leapt out of the pond and learned the gift to speak. His eyes are set aside just a little, slightly like, what's that sickness called where your eyes kind of bulge out a little bit? Is it Crohn's disease or something like that?
I don't know.
He's got kind of bulging eyes. Like he looks kind of, I wouldn't say sickly, he just looks kind of unusual. Now you're getting a better look at him, especially in the dark. Like within the glowering of the lamp, like he kind of looks odd, I guess you could say. And maybe it's just the night playing its tricks on you, or the fact that it's penumbra, or the fact that the hackles on the back of your neck are kind of like raised. Because once you're beyond the brigandine soldiers who were heavily armed, in the friars and apostles of the Church of the Covenant, and only left upon just yourselves to rely on, and this lamplighter knowing nobody else in the city, you feel incredibly isolated. You all need to attempt to withstand stress. It's a routine resolve test.
56. All right. I have a rank at resolve.
Nice.
13, so 65% chance. I succeeded with a 62.
Nice.
It was close, but I did succeed it.
Yeah.
was trying to blow that off so they would roll.
What was it?
Did that work?
It's a routine result test.
Definitely won't work if you roll those. Those things will not blow off.
Out of 54. And I am rolling rocks tonight.
Oh no.
Failure.
Critical failure.
Oh no.
God.
So the only person who
Your first
succeeded
roll of
was
the new
Alistair
campaign
Krim.
would be-
What do you like to re-roll with the fortune points we have?
One of you can't. One of you critically
That's
failed,
right.
I believe.
Terwin Forrester. Not!
So 100%.
Did you
crit
roll?
rate.
I rolled a 100.
What is it with you, man?
Okay, for those who failed their test,
Right.
the night air and the fact that it's penumbra and the isolation. Literally, only person you know in the city is this lamplighter. You all gain 3 corruption, and you will suffer 5 mental peril from stress. For those of you who critically failed, you will gain 3 corruption, and instead will suffer 14 mental peril for Terwin Forrester.
Ouch.
Just 3 corruption?
Yep.
Okay.
Terwin is noticeably uncomfortable. He's probably
How much peril did you say again?
14.
14, 1 above, so I go down to ignore 1 skill rank.
Terwin is kind of his eyes are looking back more than all of you feel. All of you feel anxious. Like it's not like fear; it's just anxiety. Like you could feel your heart kind of beat in your chest, and you would expect being in Durendal to be around other people, but a night like this, being your first night in Durendal, at a time like this, and the 3rd year anniversary of the last cataclysm on Penumbra, and apparently now the 3rd year anniversary of the assassination attempt upon the Baroness, and not being near these like really heavily armed soldiers and the priests that you would lean into, obviously Claviger being a very religious and fervent person, like you feel really anxious. The only person among you who seems to have kept his cool is Alistair Krim, but that's not too surprising as he kind of fiddles with the finger bones on his neck.
That means I'm freaking out. I'm handling it.
Even Amadeus Chandler, you can see his whistle kind of breaks up here and there as he kind of stops, as you almost hear like a can being kicked down the alley, and you realize it's just the wind kind of knocking an old glass pane against the wall or against a stone wall. Like there's just he just feels anxious, but you've seen nobody. Like the place is like devoid of anyone. It is silent as a crypt. He gets up there, he leans his ladder against it, and he kind of pulls out that cape around his neck, and he kind of comes up to the globe and, Mother bless it, he says. Can you hand me one of those glass globes down there, Mr. Silent?
I'll turn around and look and see if I see the glass globes.
Oh yeah, there's several kind of in that cart that are kind of packed carefully within rough spun.
Hand him the glass globe.
He reaches down and he spends about 20 minutes affixing these glass globes, glass panes, I should say, into the lamp. And he explains what he's doing. You see, when you put these glass panes in here, it keeps the gas contained. And then when the fusillades go up, as he kind of turns the key slowly, you can hear this you smell this kind of acrid smell. It's kind of almost strange and foreign to your all of you, foreign to your noses. Only Durendal has these at this point, save for the holy city of Roaline. The smell is kind of strange, and as he says, hand me that fuselage down there. You, Master Forrester.
Is that a fuselage?
Hand me that telescoping pole right there. Well, hold it still, goddammit. Stop shaking. He takes it from your hand, and he steps down off the ladder and says, okay, I've made the adjustments. He holds up this, what looks like a golden circlet with a single kind of halter and this weird esoteric symbol around that you can't quite make sense of, and he holds it up to the lamp and takes 2 steps back. He sniffs the air. He looks back through this disc and sniffs the air. This kind of very strange, almost ritualistic thing that he's doing that's clearly a part of being a link boy, or a lamplighter in this case. All right, here goes nothing. He takes about 2 steps back with the fuselage and kind of leans up toward underneath the glass globe, and then he's lit the end of it. It's like this fuse on the end of this brass telescoping kind of staff, and he inches up toward the glass, and you kind of pull away for a moment, and poof, poof, poof. These 3 tiny flames begin to glow, then suddenly this warm, green, effervescent light begins to kind of pour from the lamp, and suddenly the street comes to life with every crack between all the rock or the mortar is kind of broken away. This dilapidated street where you can see beyond the windows and you can see people huddled inside. You can see a few kind of candles within as well. Like the whole street seems to almost illuminate with this glass, with this green, warm glow. Miles begin to bat against the glass, drawn to the flame. And the smell, you can smell it. All right. This is what we got to do for the whole night. He takes it down. It's going to take about 20 minutes for him to do this. We got about 50 more of these to do tonight. He pulls out this, kind of unfolds this piece of paper.
50.
That's right. 49 now.
So
At 20 minutes of...
Terran is starting to get pretty darn nervous, to the point where he kind of unreasonably takes his shield and puts it on his arm, kind of like one would with a safety blanket.
Yeah.
That sort of
holding it to your chest.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Well, not all of them will take 20 minutes, right?
Well,
Because we won't have enough night.
guaranteeing that the glass panes aren't all shattered, I'm assuming that at least some of them are probably still intact. I mean, once we get going, it's just a little bit tedious.
Ah, no worries.
I reckon we'll get a rhythm.
16 and a half hours.
Yeah, I was like, we run out of night quick.
Well, look towards the...
Well, we'll pick up
More
speed.
night than day,
He
right?
smiles.
Ah, all right.
I ain't got no fear about that. You do fine. He's like, he kind of puts his hand on your shoulder and squeezes. Everything's good, my friend. So tell me about yourself, he says as you're walking along.
I'm from the north.
Well, we all know that. It's apparent. You're a tall one.
And,
Yeah, right, say you are a mountain amongst men.
You stand damn near as tall as that storm horse is. What are you, 6 foot? 6'1"? 6'3"?
I'm a little over that.
Your papa must have some strong seed. Airden, right?
That's correct.
Well, he's Aerodane with that air, those eyes. Well, no wonder you act as if you're above the rest of the world. You are. You've got the blessed air. You've got the blessed eyes. You've got the tall stature.
I have the blessing of the steward, yes. But
Good on you, my friend. But I suppose your wish toward the Leviathan's eye. You may no need to make one of those. I'm sure women just flock all around you, or menfolk if you're into that.
I'm into reinventing myself, as everyone here seems to be.
But the beauty is, once you cross the Axe Water to the east, you leave all that behind. You know why I came to Durendal? He stops kind of in the middle of all this.
He's going to talk some more.
Same reason you did. Reinvent myself.
Ah, well then good. Good. That's... You have to. I came because... Well, there's nothing left in the north for me. No city, no family.
Belgain?
Yes.
You have a look about you. Sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
You have my sympathy.
It was hard going. We made it. I got many people here. I got them here my own way, though.
It's good. I heard a lot of people from Rowaline resettled back in, or a lot of people from Belgain resettled in Rowaline. Holy City. You been through them parts?
Above board, probably no, right?
Maybe. It is the Holy City after all.
You probably robbed a couple people there.
It's the opposite direction, but yes, as a child, we made a pilgrimage.
Yeah, it's good.
My father believed in the two pillars of of Agador. Faith and all of it.
Certainly. I can appreciate that.
Well, the great thing about the girdle is that, politics are a long, long ways away. Unless you in the Baroness's court, you ain't got nothing to worry about that. We've got safety, we got the brigandine, we got light, as you can tell here. We got peace. We got good people like you, the Dufresne Agency, watching over us. I mean, you can't really get any better. That's the beauty of once you cross the Axewand, you can leave all that baggage behind. Start yourself over back here in the girdle. Durendal's a good place to do it.
That's what I'm trying.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
He'll continue on, and we will actually stop here and resume on episode 2 of Queen of Embers. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.